Alright guys, what's up everybody? What's up everybody? It's the Khaiza and we are back to a Khaiza Dojo Lepisode. Oh, sweet lord. Wow. Actually saying that now, oh my god, a Khaiza Dojo Lepisode. When was the last time I did like one of these videos? I think it was like at the beginning of September. And for good reason, obviously, right? Because, you know, classes are like going on at that time. I was like so focused into like drawing. I got like all those like drawing tablets over there. But thank the Lord that it's winter vacation, right? So it gives me plenty of time to at least a little bit breathe here and there between like Christmas and January. Just like thinking of ideas of like, you know, what could be the next one. I did have like a few ideas of like what was it? 60 versus 30 frames in fighting games. Then there was like the infamous like Smash one that I want to like talk about. Nothing like infamous or anything, but just infamous in my head because like I want to do like a collaboration Smash Khaiza Dojo with some homies, but I have to like figure out who can I get. I already have a few people I can grab in mind, but you know, let's see. I have to like make a date for that shit to like work, right? But yeah, it's been so long. I miss like doing these videos, right? I miss doing these like analytical discussion, like tutorial, engaging like topic of fighting game videos, right? With the best of my ability, of course, because I'm not a fucking like encyclopediac, right? I'm not a fucking encyclopediac or like a smarty pants know-it-all. I just know stuff. I just like that stuff. I am like viable to say like I am wrong. Like there are the comments for a reason to enlighten me, right? But the Khaiza is back, and we're back to another episode, another fighting game tutorial, discussion, deep analytical, whatever you want to call it, college course. That's like no extra credits, right? No, well, no credits, no paying credits. This is a lifelong credit course, you know? So today's topic, I was going through my head of like what to do. Like I was talking about, you know, Smash. I was talking about 30 versus 60. There are like a few others, but I feel like I've been talking about this like subject in particular, especially with my streams as of recently, right, with fighting games and like, oh, what's this between this and that, and like why I always say this, and it's netcode. And the topic here, as of course with what I just said, netcode, is like rollback versus delay based or frame delay netcode. So first of all, what is like netcode? It is like the online infrastructure of any like multiplayer game, and not just like in fighting games, but also with like shooters, with MOBAs, you know, things like that. It's like connecting people to the servers of that game so that the servers can match you up with other people that are playing with you or sometimes against you, depending on what the game is. And that's what netcode is, right? And to narrow it down more specifically to fighting games, there are two specific types of netcode. So let's first start off with the one that that was most prevalent to us, right? Is delay-based netcode, right? Or frame delay, or like walking on cement water netcode, which is what I like to call it, the archaic network, the Japanese mindset netcode. There's so many names to call this, by the way. So frame delay netcode is, you know, basically what most of the Japanese devs back in the ye olden days, before this era of like rollback netcode games, now that we have seen with games like Guilty Gear Strive, and we're getting more rollback netcode games with rollback netcode patches or even fan patches to an extent. Obviously the ones are newer or popping right now are like KOF 15, Strive, Melty Blood. There will be a few more coming soon. Oh yeah, DNF Duel that will have rollback netcode, right? So we've come to this like era of like rollback netcode. But first let's talk about like delay-based netcode. So that is the archaic system, to put it more bluntly, right? It is the fighting game that most fighting games, I think after once like Capcom games, or like most of the companies like fighting games went to like the home systems, and that is the netcode that we have used. Most infamous examples are like few examples, mostly well known, right? Ultimate Mario vs. Capcom 3, Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters is also a good candidate. Samurai Shodown, which I have played a lot and have vast expertise on. There's also quite a few number of like netcode, frame delayed netcode games that have come out around like that time, you know. And you know what categorizes those games is like, why are they called frame delay or what was it? Delay-based netcode is that. So when you're playing a match, right? When you connect to the server and the server brings you an opponent and you technically matchmake, and you say like, let's say pray to God, the server matches you with that guy and there's no like drops or like he quits out or anything like that. You begin the match, right? And you battled for like hours, you labbed for hours, right? Playing Dragon Ball Fighters or online, Dragon Ball Fighters, Ultimate Marvel 3, Samurai Shodown. You know every mix-up, you know every combo string, you know every block string to an extent. You practically know mostly everything about this game. And then once you enter a match with a actual human, an actual Homo sapien, right? You begin the match and all of a sudden, things are not like your online, are not like your lab environment at all. Things are technically a little bit slower, and by slower, I mean like the match will like play, and it will sometimes have certain stop points, right? And what I mean is like the screen will freeze. The screen will freeze. Yeah, not stop points. What am I saying? What am I saying? The screen freezes, right? And it will like stay that way until there's like a server message that like pops us as like reconnecting. You've seen that in like Dragon Ball Fighters. You've seen that. Oh, one more example. Smash, right? Smash. That's also there. Fucking God. You see the connection, or you see like the icon of the game just goes like view, like a fucking like circle, shit like that, right? That's trying to like connect you, and during that process, you guys are like duking it out, but you are stuck in that position, and you just have to like pray to God that like the next input that you do will come out. And most of the time, that input won't come out because like the screen stutters or the screen freezes like crazy, and you have no control of that whatsoever, right? And that's a shitty netcode. That's a shitty netcode. Like I said, the infamous examples that do that are Marvel 3 online, right? Native online, not talking about Parsec or anything like that, right? But native Marvel 3, Samurai Shodown, Dragon Ball Fighters, Smash Brothers, a few more fighting games that use frame delay netcode. They have that netcode and it fucking sucks, right? Like, you guys have seen me play Samurai Shodown consistently on this channel for I think about like a year. Like I cover like updates, I cover like characters, I cover like story mode, I play online for this game, and it is a nightmare fuel. It is very tremendous because it's not just like the players that I have to like deal with, nor like the system mechanics of that game, like the big unga slashes that what gets me is that the online really does suck, right? I would be like in a waiting area just waiting for a match, or like if I'm in a match, the game will like stutter and my inputs will not be precise at all. They won't come out at all against somebody. I just have to like sit there and suck my thumb. It is like that, man. And this has been like a known issue for like fighting games prior to like the avant-garde, like the advent rise of rollback netcode games that started with like possibly like Killer Instinct, Skullgirls, but those were like starting to pop up, right? But so they didn't garner that much attention. But this has been the games that we have been like dealing with since like the rollback era recently, and the start of the rollback games back in like KI or something, when it's like fucking 5 or 7 years ago at least, or even like longer than that, man. And it was like tremendous, because like the reason I see that like the reason I see frame delayed netcode getting much more like attention despite its grievances, despite my grievances, and despite of course the similar grievances with a lot of other players that have played those games before, is because like they want to like possibly sell you the game with trash online and make you think that like, oh, since this is like a fighting game, why don't I just go to my like friend's place? Or like, if you are much more bolder, book a ticket to like EVO and go to that tournament and just like play in the environment that the game is supposed to be played in, which is, yeah, that's kind of bullshit, because like those games that really have like really great combos and system structures and all that stuff, right? They could be really good, but it just suffers online. To have it be like masked as like, you know, you have to come to this event is kind of shitty, right? What I always say is that like a game should have good online, and it should have good online, and also good other fluff that comes with the game, right? Like, you know, combos and presentation, art style, etc, right? It should have both of those things, not one or the other, not one, but both, not any other way. You can't just only have like graphics and presentation and character roster size, you know, that's fine and all, but I want to see like how good is the online, because that's where you want to be, right? Like for us, like or at least like for me per se, right? You know, I can't really go out anywhere. I'm always like self-conscious about going out to like tournaments, let's say for instance, even, or like cons for instance, because even though my mom and my dad, who passed away a long time ago, always suggested, you know, Farhan, get yourself out there, you know, right? We can go to like a, you know, Comic-Con. Mom would always say, oh, go out to like Comic-Con. But then I would always say, you know, I really don't want to, because, you know, like, I would have to like think about you first of all, and not to my needs, because I was like the smart, like conscious boy that I am. I'll just like say no. And for like tournaments, I would not feel like I'm comfortable to go to a tournament. Like, I would love to go witness a tournament, like a live actual like tournament. My biggest goal in life for me is to like go to like any of the big league tournaments that FGC heads usually like run and go to, or like CEO or Combo Breaker, or even like EVO, right? I would love to like go to the Palace, I think it's in like Las Vegas, Nevada, so I was gonna say Palisades, but I'll just keep it safe and go to Las Vegas, right? I would love to like go to Las Vegas and actually try and actually witness like a tournament, you know? But it'll be like for those like type of people that can actually like afford a tournament. And also, if I were to ever compete in a tournament, I would just feel like too timid. Like, I don't feel that confident enough to like actually enter a tournament. Yes, it's like you start off with locals. You're not expected to like go to like those grand scale tournaments of like EVO or CEO or Combo Breaker, because, you know, they're like a higher echelon. You start off at like locals, but, you know, like it's a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety, and I don't think that like I can handle that. I feel like I'm overselling myself. Yes, I'm like kind of okay at fighting games. Like, I talk about them a lot. I talk about like fighting game terminology and stuff like that, but I'm just like very timid. I'm just very like squeamish and scared that like maybe I'm not gonna make it big, and that like feeling gets around. That feeling like plagues your mind, and you say, you know, don't worry about that, but it's still it's kind of like a worm that like circles around your head, and it just doesn't want to like leave. So, Maybe like in the long run, once I've gotten past that or like cut off that worm in my brain. But that's always been like the case for me because, you know, either I'm timid or I'm conscious, and also like the other self-conscious about like people around me that I would love to go, but I gotta think about mom and dad first, and we're all like teachers in the family, so there's no breaks for us outside of like summer vacation or winter vacation. Nothing any time in between unless we get like a big break or like a paid leave of absence or something like that. And of course it's money, right? The third reason is also of course is money, because if you were to ever go to like Evo or anything like that, it would cost a lot of money just for like going to these like yearly like trips and just like witness a fighting game shtick. Yeah, and like from what I understand, this could be like very low baller, or not low baller. What is it? Very wrong misinformation. But aren't like plane tickets like super high and costly? I feel like that is, right? It's like plane tickets don't really come cheap, you know? Like you have to like be like a consistent fighting game streamer, like fucking Jay Wong, or like he's a competitor obviously, but any of like the big league like competitor like esports streamers that make like bank and have like huge followings, right? You know, it's not as easy as like 1, 2, 3, you know, you can get like a coach plane and that's it. But then again, I could be wrong. That's like, again, misinformation or misinformed, you know? But still, like, plane tickets aren't really that cheap. They are super expensive. You have to invest some time and money to actually go there, you know? So, but, you know, that's like outside of it. When it comes to like fucking frame delay-based netcode, it's like, it sucks because, you know, they give you this game, they give you this awesome badass game, but they front-face sell you that like, you know, the online netcode is bad without even saying anything. And the only way to play these types of games is that you have to go to these like locals or major tournament events to play the game how it's supposed to play. Without it, if you don't go to these tournaments, then you're just gonna sit there and like suck your thumb that like these netcodes are garbage. Like playing any like 3D fighter like Soul Cal or Virtual Fighter or Tekken, it sucks ass. Playing any 2D fighter like old school like Guilty Gear Rev or any of those listed examples that I said minutes ago, it sucks. It like, this is the example that I always give in my streams, is that playing, they feel like you're walking on like a shallow like pool, like, or what's the right description? Like you go in a pool, right? Let's visualize that like you're in a pool and like you're in a shallow like pool. You walk on that pool, and you know how that feeling you get that like when you're like in deep water, you are moving slowly because the weight of the water is like, it's kind of like gravity to you, and you're moving so sluggishly that like, man, I should be walking a little bit faster. I could walk so much faster on ground, right? But in a swimming pool, in like in a beach, nah dude, you can't do that. You run super fucking slow because of like the water weight and shit like that. That's how it feels like for me when it comes to delay-based netcode, is like either you're walking on water or you're walking through like fucking cement, or like you're stuck in like fucking concrete and you can't really move as you would normally do on the ground. You just have to like sit there, wait for a move to come out, and just like pray to God that like you can actually like walk. That's how it like feels like, and I suffer with that a lot. Like I said, with Samurai Shodown, with a lot of the other games like Granblue, so much other fighting games that I have like tried, and they just like suck so total donkey ass, man. Like, and that's like why do like Japanese fighting game developers do that shit, right? Since they're like their games are super fucking great, and they've been showcased in like Evo or CEO at like the highest like gameplay pinnacle peak. But that's only in those stages, in that in that environment, but in the online environment, it sucks. It's there to like milk more money out of you than you already have, because you know, of course you're not gonna play online in that game. Of course not. So the best result to play like or witness the game in its actual intended form is to go to those tourneys, which sucks. It really fucking sucks, man. And the infamous and like an infamous example would be like in Dragon Ball FighterZ or in Smash Brothers, where like in Dragon Ball FighterZ, for instance, you know, you're playing a game and some motherfucker is having like 13 frames of delay. Whoa, you can't play the game at all. There's like the highest threshold is like 5 frames. 5 frames is like, okay, that's doable, but 10 or 20, my guy? Oh my god, you are fucking playing a Wi-Fi player. You just love Dragon Ball. You don't give a fuck about online integrity. You just want to like play Beerus and Android 18 and Android 21. And you just want to suck and cock. God. Or even like with Smash Brothers, like you just play on like the fucking handheld. Don't even put it on the toaster. You don't even have like a proper connection. You just rely on like Wi-Fi for the most part. You don't even have a LAN adapter, right? You just see like a video game. I'm borrowing this from one of the acquaintances that I know. A video game slideshow. Really, that's what it is. You're just stuck at like these screens and like hope, pray to God that like you have to like mash a fucking input to get a move out, or the move doesn't come out and you just have to like suck ass. It already alone is giving me fucking stress at this point. So Rollback Netcode it's not very good, but there is some like pros, I'll give it to say, because like we had some great games that came out in the delay-based netcode era. Funny enough, right? Dragon Ball FighterZ, Ultimate Marvel 3, KOF 13, to an extent KOF 14, and so many other fighting games that came around that time frame, right? And you know, it just looks great. It looks good. You can't ignore that like a fighting game that looks that great. But you also have to keep in mind that like the netcode is goddamn awful. Alright, now the next netcode is Rollback Netcode, the Rollback. Since we were talking about like delay-based netcode and I hinted at a little bit that like, you know, we're entering like this rollback era of fighting games. It started this boon back in like Killer Instinct and Ultimate Marvel, no, not Ultimate Marvel, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Trash looking game, but great online, let me tell you. Then there's like Skullgirls and Mortal Kombat 11 that also had rollback netcode. There's also Them's Fighting Herds that were particularly like, they didn't shine as much compared to some of the other games. Well, I mean, you know, fighting games are obviously fucking niche fucking video game genres, because you give it to like an average Joe Schmo player, they're not gonna pick up a like Street Fighter or let's say fucking Guilty Gear anytime soon. But the reason why a lot of players, like especially like Guilty Gear, are picking up, you know, Strive and so many others is because, you know, rollback netcode. The netcode is, or like online rollback is pretty fucking good, right? And what essentially rollback netcode is that let's use that example again of like me connecting to a server, and the server is matchmaking me to another person who wants to play with me, right? With rollback netcode, it's a lot harsher in like older games because, you know, it's not like Guilty Gear Strive where it's like an open lobby or open ranked lobby and you could just like wait at a duel station and hope somebody comes on by. Back then, games like Marvel Infinite or Killer Instinct, you had to like sit there like in the lab area or like in the menu screen and just hope and pray to God that like the server connects you to something, right? But let's stick with that, right? You found somebody the server found somebody to matchmake with you with, right? You begin the match, and holy fucking shit, as soon as the match begins, like the netcode feels a lot smoother, right? It feels like so out of this world, right? And the magic behind rollback netcode is this: when you are doing like a move, like let's say like a normal or a fireball, right? And you start to have like a bad connection, right? Rollback netcode is an ingenious system that like takes like some of the base natures of delay-based netcode, and what it does is that it's a prediction-based netcode system. So when you're throwing out like a normal or like a fireball, for instance, or like a DP, like in the air trying to like do something, right? What it does is that it will play the match like, you know, through and through, right? And if you happen to have like a shitty connection, right? Rollback netcode will help you fill in those like gaps, because the rollback netcode will make the match continue to go on by predicting the next few frames of your next like input. So like that fireball you just missed, like where in the delay-based netcode you're stuck in this like fucking active animation frame, and you just have to pray to God that the move will actually like come out. So with rollback netcode, the match will still continue, you'll still get that input, and it would feel like it's fucking amazing. It would feel like, you know, you're playing the game properly as intended. Like if you're playing against somebody from like from like New York City in one of your like loft apartments to like Europe, right, in London, in old dreary London, you get to play that person in London as if you're playing in the same room with him, like in the actual room with him. Like that's fucking phenomenal, right? A good fighting game always has to be like, you gotta have great online, right? How much can I test my skills? Like, you know, it's not enough to like play with your friends in your backyard, right? It's not enough to play with your homies that are literally a few blocks from you, and you could just like, hey yo, you want to come over and play some like Smash? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll be fine with that. And it plays great because you're actually with that person, you have a second controller, and you can just go nuts. However, a good online game would means that like you can play a person, you don't feel that satisfactory just playing with your homies, right? Because I've known these guys, I've battled these guys for the longest of time, right? I want to take my levels, my skills, my acquired knowledge of this fighting game and test it out to random motherfuckers that are not within a few blocks, but maybe within a few cities. Delay-based netcode can like work with that, right? To an extent. But what if I take my skills across the border, across the seas, and play somebody in like fucking Pakistan or some shit, right? Pakistan, Uruguay, Scotland, if there's like any players into like fucking Scotland or some shit, right? And have it be like bringing that Scotland player in that same area with me, right? You know, that's great. That's why rollback netcode is like a saving grace for fighting games, because you don't technically have the need to pay for like a plane ticket to go to this like local and face like somebody in like Japan or like from Chile or some shit. You can actually play with that person in the comfort of your own home and just like go as many rounds as you can. Go as many rounds as you can and learn from each other and learn new skills, more so than with your friends. Like, I love that shit. I love like just like exceeding your limits or breaking your limits and just like fighting new people and not be inhibited by like bad netcode. And of course, you know, rollback is a netcode, so it's not totally perfect. There are certain instances where rollback netcode can be like an ugh. It all depends on the person's connection. Either they have one-sided netcode, they're playing on like Wi-Fi, because they're still Wi-Fi warriors to this day. They don't have enough money to pay for like a LAN adapter or a fucking they don't have money to pay for a LAN cable like this, right? Just right off a screen, like right here. They don't have enough money like this. They gotta do what they gotta do. But comparatively speaking, like if you were to choose between delay-based or rollback, I would suggest delay-based 100%. 100%. Because look at the games that like came out and that feels so great with fucking rollback netcode. Guilty Gear Strive, KOF 15, DNF Duel, and we're gonna see a lot more fighting games with rollback netcode really soon. Really soon, I guarantee you that, because the one thing that like COVID has taught us, albeit, you know, like it is a shitty virus with new variants like Delta and Omicron being more deadly than, you know, Delta and like all that shit, right? The one thing that COVID has taught us is that I always say this in my streams. Think with your brains, not with your hearts and dicks. Cause yes, we love that interaction of just like meeting physical people and just like duking house, and you know, we don't have to worry about like 6 feet social distancing like in the past, but we have to do so now. We have to put on masks, we have to be careful, we have to be smart with our fighting games, right? We love to like be toxic, we love to teabag, we love to like talk shit, right? You know, we love to like be the Smurf, you know, but we're in a deadly pandemic virus and that hasn't gone away. This is like almost 2 years. This is almost 2 years since COVID has rocked our world. And we can't be living in like in a stone age, honestly. I'm gonna say it straight up. It's like games like Granblue, games like fucking Smash that like, albeit there are still Smash players that still play them. We have vaccines that make us like go outside and shit and compete with dudes. But if you're not smart, if you're not vaccinated, if you're not following the rules of like real world, then you're like contributing to the virus. You're contributing to like more cases and God forbid more deaths. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the reason why it situates with like rollback netcode, because rollback netcode is not only like a saving grace in terms of like, you know, you can play fluently and more appropriately with like another person outside of your own realm, but it also like keeps you like inside and just like have fun. You have online capabilities like Discord and all that and all that other jazz. And yes, I understand, right? We like to meet these people, we like to hang out with these people, but again, we're in a virus. We're in a virus-ridden world where like we are cooped up in our own homes, right? And that's really shitty. Like, I hate being in this home all the damn time, right? Like, now back then I would have preferred to like be at home at all times, but damn, I've just been like staying at home for like almost 24/7. I have not like breathed outside in the longest of time, and I get that. But again, with your brains, guys, come on. We gotta be smarter than this. We gotta be smarter and be more better. It's not like some sort of like political like schema. It's not like that. It's just safety. It's just taking care of each other, and like, you know, that's how it is. That's how it be. Like, don't think of anything else, you know? Just have fun. Just, you know, be smart and be safe. You can still have fun, but find other ways. Rollback netcode is one of those other ways. Just, you know, just be smart. That's all. That's all. Yeah, but like, that's like a little bit of like melodrama. Yeah, like Rollback Netcode saves fighting games. That's why we have so many games that like Guilty Gear XR, Guilty Gear Strive, you know, KOF 15. There's so many people praising these fighting games because of how good the online is, right? You know, outside of like specific peoples and specific like gameplay formats, right? But if an online is good, then that's all you need. That's all you need to like play. Sure, that depends on like, you know, if the game's like viable enough, right? Because, you know, once the game is like past their prime, once there's not much content within that game, then it becomes like a sweatshop, right? You'll find so many sweaties that you'll be like in a fucking gym membership, right? But those games are fluidly fun because you can actually feel like, you know, you're playing an online game without the hindrances of screen freezes, and you can play with people outside of your comfort zone. It's not just your friends. It's not just your homies. It's randos that can be your homies, and you're learning off from them and learning new strats and strategies. And one day, if you feel confident enough, you can take them to Evo. You can take them to CEO. You can take them to Combo Breaker. I don't know how many other fighting games are there. Maybe like Frosty Faustings. Maybe like in the next few weeks. But yeah, like fighting game netcode is important. As you know, I'll reference one guy who said this in the Whole Bad to Block video about the Killer Instinct documentary, right? A fighting game has to have good online on arrival, right? Or like paraphrasing, has to have good online. If you don't have good online, you're dead on arrival. And that's so true, right? Albeit there are cases that like Dragon Ball FighterZ and Smash Brothers and have like that casual level appeal because it's Dragon Ball, it's Smash, right? But their online just sucks ass. That's why I stopped playing them. Even with like more content being added to the game, like DLCs and like patch notes and whatnot, I still won't play the game. If the game still gives me like 10 frames of delay or like the fucking 10 inherent frames of online with even with like a LAN cable, I am not gonna play you. I'm not even gonna play with like my friends, you know, cause like the game is inherently bad online, right? I'll watch from like a sideline. I'll watch, but nah, homie. Those games, like I realized this in my Samurai Shodown playthroughs, in my Samurai Shodown online videos. Those games are like the epitome of just like increasing my fucking gastritis, my goddamn like stomach levels, my acid levels on maximum. And I suffer from fucking stomach problems, dude. Jesus, I had like a gallbladder surgery. I had colonoscopy and endoscopy. I have fucking gastritis, ulceritis, you know? I don't want shit that like, you know, devalues my health. I don't want shit that has that. I want to feel good when I play a fighting game. I don't want to feel bad. Of course not. Jesus. You know, playing against CPUs is like one thing, but like playing against like a system that I cannot beat. A system that I cannot beat. You know? But yeah, there you go. That's like the difference between like rollback and delay-based netcode and why netcode is so important, right? Why fighting games need that level like of push-up, and we're getting that push-up with this rollback era of Strive and DNF and KOF, right? Because a lot of like developers are seeing that like, you know, we can't do anything about this COVID era. You know, there's gonna be more cases. There's gonna be more, God forbid, deaths of COVID pandemic, right? A lot of cases from Omicron. So, and we are cooped up in our homes. Some countries have strict mandate laws of like being in lockdown, right? So the best thing that we can do is, or the best that fighting game developers can do is improve on their netcode so that there won't be, so that us fans of the FGC, of just fighting game enthusiasts, fans, whatever, won't feel as depressed as hell that we can't meet up with our buddies and just like play like fucking our fighting games with our PCs, with our consoles and whatnot, right? We just have to make do with what we have, which is, you know, staying here in our homes, being safe, just like playing fighting games online with randos, and just, you know, just be smart. Just have a blast with an online game mode that doesn't make me feel like total shite. You know? Like, I just like want that. I just want that for all of the fighting games. And now we have like alternative ways to play our favorite fighting games. Like there's Parsec, there's what was that one online application for Smash Brothers? Is it like Yuzu or some shit? I don't know. I think it's like Yuzu. You could play like Smash Brothers online with like a way better online than like the game's intended usage. Intended system. You know, albeit you will run flack into Nintendo for flack like that, right? But if you could make a way to make the game doable in an online sense, go for it. Like, I want to see these games like flourish and shine and bring in more crowds of people to play fighting games. Because again, it's a niche genre. It's not something easy to get into like a JRPG or like a Breath of the Wild clone, right? That you have unlimited potential and unlimited amounts. It's not something like a MOBA, or it's not something like a shooter. You know, it doesn't have that, you know, grab your dick level appeal, right? Or grab your cooch level appeal. Who knows? You know, it's just you have to have like an acquired taste for them, and the only way that fighting games can do that is through graphics and like character roster and sometimes gameplay, not always online, but those aforementioned things of graphics and characters specifically. If the game looks good, then obviously people are going to play it. There's a reason why Smash Brothers and Mortal Kombat are the best-selling, well, I'm not sure about Mortal Kombat, but Smash for certain is a great fighting game because roster size is literally almost 100 characters. And the gameplay is super nice. There's always a Smash vid whatsoever online in the web. It's got great stages, it's great looking, and it's got Nintendo as backup, right? But the online sucks, which is the double-edged sword out of it. But fighting games need that push. And look at like Guilty Gear. That's the other example, right? Guilty Gear is being widely played amongst, you know, fighting game devs and competitors, and it's the fighting game to play right now. And there's going to be more content for that game soon. We're going to get Biken soon. We just don't know when. I want Biken. I want a reason to play Guilty Gear again. But anyway, I guess that's it for today. Thank you guys a ton for tuning into this Khaiza Dojo. I know it's been like a long time coming. I have planned to do this like maybe around like Christmas time, but I was super busy around like Christmas time, just like working on like papers and like assignments and whatnot, and it's just like I didn't have like the actual time and energy to do this until like now. Now I'm doing it, and I think I won't be able to do it again maybe like next week or maybe like the months after, because what's going to be soon after for me is another semester of just like classes. And although work would be nice if there are more students, right? I gotta check on that. But yeah, like next semester, another workload semester for me, so probably won't be seeing another Khaiza Dojo anytime soon. If I do make one pretty soon, then it's going to be like another topic. I don't think I could do like the Smash one anytime soon, which is something I want to do, but I just have to like find the time to coordinate with others on like what's the best time for them, and then we could rock house and just like talk about shit. But anyway, I guess that's it for today. Thank you guys a ton for watching this video. Leave a like below, comment down below on what your thoughts on frame delay, on rollback, or just in general netcode. What do you think about the whole like netcode situation with our fighting games nowadays, right? So, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? We are looking at like 68 subscribers. If we can get like a few more, I do want to get like a custom URL. So I just gotta like get a notice for that. But yeah, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I do fighting game vids. I do videos of my choosing. I do reviews. I'll be doing a review soon of some certain topics, right? But yeah, that's it for today. I'll see y'all later and keep playing fighting games. Peace, y'all. Peace, homies.